All right, let's dive in. Today we're looking at Fate Therapeutics.
Fate Therapeutics.
This company's making some serious waves in cell therapies, and you've sent over a mountain of articles and research.
Yeah.
Clearly, you want to know, are they the real deal?
Right.
Or is it all just hype?
Yeah.
What really grabbed my attention is this whole idea of ready-made cell therapies using, get this, induced pluripotent stem cells.
Oh, yeah.
iPSCs.
iPSCs, yeah.
It's like, imagine, right? Life-saving treatments that are as easy to get as a blood transfusion.
That's the dream.
That's the
A
dream.
big dream.
Huge potential.
Huge.
Huge, absolutely huge. And it's a total shift from, those personalized cell therapies that are kind of the standard now,
Right.
which, as you know, are like tailored to each individual patient
Oh, yeah.
and can be, oh my gosh, so complex and expensive to actually make.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a big deal. So let's break this down a bit. For
right.
those of us who, might not be totally up to speed,
Sure.
can you explain what exactly are iPSCs
iPSCs.
and why have they become such a big deal in the medical world?
Okay, so iPSCs, think of them as like the chameleons of the cellular world, right?
Okay.
They start out as regular adult cells, like your skin cells.
Okay.
But through this like crazy process, and it's a Nobel Prize-winning process,
Oh.
they get reprogrammed back into this like embryonic-like state,
Mm.
and that basically gives them this superpower to become any cell type in the body.
So it's like hitting a biological reset button.
Exactly, it's a reset button.
Mm.
And Fate Therapeutics, they're taking this like superpower and they're using it to make immune cells.
Okay.
Specifically, they're focusing on NK cells and T cells.
Right.
And they're engineering these cells to fight off diseases
Yeah.
like cancer, like autoimmune disorders.
We're talking big stuff.
Oh, yeah, big time. And this is where this multiplexed engineering thing comes in.
Right.
Which is like, it's mind-blowing because they're not just, creating these cells. They're actually boosting their ability to like zero in and destroy the disease.
It's like they're giving them superpowers.
Superpowers, exactly.
Okay.
So Fate uses this tool called CRISPR gene editing, which is like, a molecular scalpel.
Wow.
Super precise.
Yeah.
And they can use it to knock out genes that might cause a patient's immune system to reject the
That's
cells.
smart.
Right. And then they can also insert genes that like supercharge the cells.
Like an upgrade.
A total upgrade so they can attack cancer cells even better.
So it's not just like making immune cells. It's
Yeah.
making them like super soldiers.
Super soldiers trained for a specific mission. You got it. And then on top of that, they're going for consistency, reliability.
Right.
They call it clonal master iPSC lines.
Break that down for me.
Okay, so imagine you've got this like perfectly engineered iPSC, right?
The perfect soldier.
The perfect soldier with all the bells and whistles, the upgrades, and that becomes like your master blueprint.
Okay.
And then from that one single cell,
Yeah.
they can make an army,
Wow.
identical cells,
Okay.
clones
Okay,
basically.
each one's like a perfect copy.
Perfect copy, guaranteeing quality and performance.
That's amazing.
It really sets them apart from those like personalized therapies,
Right.
which can be, messy
Yeah.
and unpredictable.
Okay, so we've got these like supercharged, ready to go immune
Nice
cells.
more action.
Let's talk about where they're putting them to work.
Right.
Because Fate has like a really busy pipeline.
Oh, they're busy.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through some of the most exciting candidates?
Like the stars of the show?
Yeah, the ones that really show us what this technology can do.
Okay, so one that's getting a lot of buzz is FT516.
Okay.
It's an NK cell therapy that they're looking at for B-cell lymphoma.
That's a tough one.
Tough one, especially when it's relapsed or refractory, which is what they're targeting.
Right.
And get this, in the clinical trials, they're seeing a 73% overall response rate.
73%.
73%?
Incredible.
It is, especially when you consider that the average response rate for like the usual treatments for this kind of lymphoma, it's like 30%.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So for patients who have like tried everything else, this could be a total game changer.
It's not just a small improvement.
No.
It's a lifeline.
It is. It really is.
Okay, and then there's FT596, right?
Yes, FT596. This one's taking a slightly different approach.
Oh,
It's a T-cell therapy.
all right.
And it's showing some pretty amazing results when they combine it with rituximab,
Rituximab. Yeah.
which is like this commonly used drug for B-cell lymphoma.
Okay.
And what's really interesting here is the synergy.
Okay.
They're seeing like a 55% complete response rate when they use them together.
So it's like they're not just trying to replace the old treatments.
Right.
They're figuring out how to integrate the new ones.
Exactly. They're boosting the effectiveness.
Okay, that's fascinating.
And then there's this other one, FT819.
Oh, yeah, FT819.
This one caught my eye, too, because it's going after lupus.
Lupus, yeah.
Which, from what I've read, it's a really, really tough one to treat.
It is. It's really hard to manage.
Super hard. And the current treatments often come with, like, a whole bunch of side effects.
Yeah.
So FT819, it's still early days,
Okay.
early trials,
Yeah.
but the initial data is, like, really promising.
Oh, that's good.
They even had one patient who achieved complete remission,
Wow.
and they didn't even need to keep taking medication.
Complete remission without medication.
It's like, if those results hold up in the bigger trials,
Mhm.
it could change everything about how we approach autoimmune diseases.
That's incredible.
It's pretty amazing.
It's hard not to get, like, super excited about this.
It is exciting.
But we got to be realistic.
Right.
Every groundbreaking technology hits some bumps in the road.
Absolutely.
What are some of the, like, key challenges that Fate Therapeutics needs to tackle if they want to bring these therapies to, everybody who needs them?
So one of the biggest hurdles is definitely manufacturing,
Okay.
scaling up production for these cell therapies.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No.
They're incredibly complex,
Right.
and they need to be able to produce them reliably, consistently,
Like on a massive scale.
a massive scale to meet the potential demand if this takes off.
So it's not enough to just prove that it works in the lab.
No, not at all.
They got to show they can actually get it to the people who need it.
Exactly. That's a huge challenge.
And that's not the only challenge, right?
You're right. There's more. Safety is another big one.
Okay.
The early safety data, it looks good,
Yeah.
but the long-term effects, we're still figuring that out.
Right. It's still early.
It's early,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always that chance of, like, unexpected side effects with any new therapy,
Yeah, of course.
especially one that involves, like, modifying cells at such a basic level.
Yeah, you're messing with the building blocks of life.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's this balancing act, right?
It is.
They have to push the limits of science, but also make sure it's safe.
Safety first.
Safe and effective in the long run.
Absolutely. And all of that takes money.
Oh, yeah, tons of it.
Funding is always a big issue for these biotech companies, especially ones that are still in clinical trials.
Right.
Fate's pouring money into R&D
Mm-hmm.
and building up their manufacturing.
Yeah.
They're going to need a lot of cash to keep going.
So they've got the science, they've got the vision, but they also got to face the realities of, the business side.
The real world?
The real world, yeah. And let's not forget, they're not alone in this.
Oh, no, not at all.
The cell therapy field is, it's a hot area right now.
Super competitive.
So many players.
Tons of companies working on this.
Yeah, so let's talk about the competition.
All right.
We'll dig into that more in the next part of our deep dive.
That's good.
But before we wrap up this section, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What are some of Fate Therapeutics' biggest strengths?
Oh.
What sets them apart in this, crowded space?
So their multiplexed engineering, that's huge. And their focus on minimizing immune rejection.
Smart.
Right. They're using techniques like ADR,
ADR.
antibody-dependent cellular cytotoxicity.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down a little.
Basically, they're engineering these cells to be as effective as possible, but also less likely to be rejected.
So they last longer.
Exactly. They survive longer and can do their job.
Okay, so they've got some serious weapons in their arsenal.
They do.
We'll explore that competitive landscape more in part 2 of our deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
But for now, we'll leave you with this thought.
Okay.
If Fate Therapeutics can overcome these hurdles,
Yeah.
could we be on the verge of a new era in medicine?
Oh.
Where these powerful cell therapies are as easy to get as, a blood transfusion?
That's the big question.
It's a big one.
It is.
And it's something to think about
Definitely.
as we continue to learn more about Fate Therapeutics.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to dive even deeper.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
All right.
As we dig deeper into Fate Therapeutics,
Yeah.
one thing that really jumped out at me from all the stuff you sent over
Okay.
is how many patents they have. Oh, yeah. It's like over 500 issued patents,
Wow.
and even more that are pending.
They're serious about protecting their tech.
Oh, absolutely. They're building a fortress around their IP.
Makes sense, but I did see something about a lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. There was a patent infringement lawsuit.
Right, about iPSC patents.
Yeah. And the court actually ruled against Fate in that case.
Oh, so that's not good.
Well, it's not ideal,
Yeah.
but Patent lawsuits are pretty common in biotech,
Okay.
and this particular ruling didn't affect their core patents.
So more of a speed bump than a roadblock.
Exactly. Their patent portfolio is still incredibly strong,
Okay, good.
and it's a major draw for investors and partners.
Right, because it shows they're serious.
Serious about innovation, and
Right.
that attracts people who want to be part of it.
Speaking of partners, I noticed Fate's teamed up with some big names.
Oh yeah, they've got some heavy hitters on their side.
Like big pharma heavy hitters.
Yeah, companies like Ono Pharmaceutical in Japan,
Oh, okay.
and they had a collaboration with Janssen Biotech.
Right, so why are these partnerships so important for Fate?
Well, these big companies, they bring a lot to the table.
Resources.
Resources for sure. Expertise, global reach.
Stuff that Fate might not have on their own.
Right, especially at this stage.
So they're leveraging the strengths of these bigger companies.
Exactly. It's like a shortcut to growth and success.
And the big companies get in on the ground floor of something potentially huge.
It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Smart strategy. But partnerships and patents aside, let's talk about the money.
All right, the financial side of things.
Can Fate actually afford all these ambitious projects?
That's the million-dollar question.
Are they on solid financial footing?
Well, like a lot of biotech companies that are still in clinical trials,
Yeah.
they're not profitable yet.
Okay.
Their revenue right now is mostly from collaborations and grants.
Right.
But their expenses are high, especially for R&D and manufacturing.
So they're investing heavily in their future.
They are, which is typical in this industry.
But how much time do they have?
Before they need more cash.
Yeah, what's their runway?
Based on the latest reports, it's estimated to be about 2 years.
Okay, so that gives them some breathing room.
Some, but not a ton.
They're going to have to show some serious progress to keep investors happy.
Oh, absolutely. They need to prove that their technology is the real deal.
Get those therapies closer to market.
Exactly. The clock is ticking.
And what are the experts saying?
The analysts.
Yeah, what's their take on Fate's prospects?
It's a mixed bag.
Okay.
Some are really bullish.
Bullish on Fate?
Yeah, they point to those impressive early results from their lead candidates.
Right, those are pretty amazing.
They were. But others are more cautious.
Okay, why?
Well, biotech is inherently risky,
True.
and they want to see more data, longer-term data.
To confirm the safety and efficacy.
Exactly. So it's kind of wait and see right now.
Makes sense. It's clear they have the potential.
Oh, the potential is huge.
But there are still a lot of unknowns.
There are.
But even with those unknowns, I gotta say, the possibilities are pretty exciting.
They are. If they can pull this off.
It would be transformative.
Transformative, exactly. Imagine a world where these cell therapies, which are now only for a select few,
Yeah.
are available to anyone who needs them.
It could revolutionize how we treat some of the toughest diseases.
Absolutely. And not just cancer, but autoimmune diseases too.
Right, their work with lupus is really interesting.
Super interesting. If they can replicate that success in other autoimmune diseases.
It would be huge for so many people.
Millions, potentially.
But let's not forget, they're not the only ones in this race.
Right. The competition is fierce.
We mentioned some of the key players before.
Allogene, Century.
Yeah, so how does Fate stack up?
Okay, so their strengths,
Yeah.
that multiplex engineering, that's a big one.
Okay.
And their focus on minimizing immune rejection.
With ADR.
With ADR, exactly.
So they're engineering these cells to be super effective and long-lasting.
They're trying to create the perfect weapon against disease.
Pretty impressive. But are there any areas where they might be behind?
Well, some of their competitors are further along in clinical development.
Okay.
Some might be closer to getting their therapies approved and on the market.
So Fate's got some catching up to do.
In a sense, yes. They need to keep moving fast, keep proving their therapies work.
And secure the funding to keep up.
Exactly. It's a tough race.
Sounds like they need to win on multiple fronts.
Science, finance, regulation.
It's a lot.
It is. But if any company can crack this ready-made cell therapy thing,
Yeah,
I think Fate's got a real shot.
I agree. Their vision is bold, their science is impressive,
And their early results are promising.
but it's still early days.
Very early. The next few years will be crucial.
For them and for the whole field,
Definitely.
we'll be watching closely.
Me too. Eager to see what they come up with next.
Okay, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
where we'll explore the bigger picture.
The implications of all this?
Exactly. There's one more thing about Fate's business model I want to touch on.
Okay, what's that?
So, besides developing their own therapies,
Right.
they're also licensing their tech to other companies.
Oh, yeah. That's a smart move.
Why is that such a key part of their strategy?
Well, by licensing their iPSC platform
Okay.
and other tech, they create new revenue streams.
Okay, so it brings in money.
Money, and it spreads their innovation further.
So more therapies can be developed.
Exactly, for a wider range of diseases.
It's like they're accelerating the whole field.
In a way, yes. They're sharing the knowledge.
It's a win-win for everyone, especially patients.
Absolutely. It's a really smart way to maximize their impact.
So they're attacking this challenge from all angles.
They are developing therapies, collaborating, licensing.
A multi-pronged approach.
Exactly. And that diversification could be key to their success
It spreads the risk.
and opens up more paths to getting those therapies to market.
All right, well, with that in mind, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll examine the broader implications of Fate's work.
The big picture.
What could this technology mean for the future of medicine as a whole?
That's the really exciting part.
All right, so we've really dug deep into Fate Therapeutics.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
Their science, their business strategy, the hurdles, the competition.
The lanyards.
But now, I want to zoom out.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
The big picture, all right.
What happens if Fate actually succeeds with these ready-made cell therapies?
That's the question, isn't it?
What could it mean for, like, the future of medicine?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Because if Fate pulls this off, it could have this ripple effect,
Ripples.
across healthcare systems, drug development,
Wow.
even our understanding of the human body.
So let's break that down.
Okay.
Starting with healthcare systems,
Ah.
how would they be affected?
Okay. Think about, like, the logistics of personalized cell therapies right now.
Okay.
It's a whole thing. Yeah, collect the patient's cells, engineer them, reinfuse them.
Right.
It takes forever, and it's so expensive.
And it requires, like, specialized facilities.
Exactly. Specialized everything.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It kind of is
Yeah.
for everyone involved.
But with ready-made therapies,
Yeah.
you just skip all that, right?
Basically.
Yeah, the treatment's just there, ready to go.
Like any other drug on the shelf.
So we're shifting from this, like, personalized, individualized approach
Right.
to something more standardized.
Oh, like a mass-produced product.
And what would that mean for cost?
Yeah.
And access?
That's the game changer.
Okay.
Standardization could make these therapies way cheaper,
Yeah.
easier to get.
For everyone.
For everyone. Think about, like, treating patients in rural areas
Yeah.
or in developing countries.
Where they don't have all the fancy equipment.
Exactly. They wouldn't need it anymore.
That's amazing. It could really level the playing field.
That's the hope. Yeah. Huge implications for global health equity.
Okay, so we've talked about healthcare systems.
Right.
What about drug development?
Oh, that's a whole other story.
How would Fate's approach change things there?
Well, think about it. With ready-made cell therapies,
Yeah.
you got this consistent product
Right.
that you can use in tons of different trials.
Across different types of patients.
Exactly. So you can test all sorts of modifications, combinations.
It's like a platform.
It is like a testing ground for new ideas.
So research could move faster.
Much faster, leading to quicker breakthroughs
More effective treatment.
for a wider range of diseases, potentially.
Wow, that's incredible.
It could change the whole game.
Okay, so beyond the practical stuff I'm
Yeah.
thinking about, like our scientific understanding.
The deeper implications.
Yeah. How could Fate's work help us understand the human body better?
Well, just the fact that they're working with iPSCs,
Okay.
it's pushing the boundaries of what we know about cells.
It's like they're rewriting the rules.
They're reprogramming them, engineering them.
It's not just about treating diseases anymore.
It's about, like, controlling cells,
Wow.
understanding them at a whole new level.
And what could that lead to?
Who knows? New discoveries, new therapeutic targets.
Even more innovative therapies down the line?
Exactly. We're just scratching the surface here.
It's amazing to think about the impact
The ripple effect, yeah.
one company could have.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It sounds like Fate Therapeutics is, like, leading the charge
You're definitely at the forefront.
of a whole new era in medicine.
They're asking the right questions, taking risks.
Making people excited.
Definitely a company to watch.
Well, I think we've given you a lot to think about.
I hope so.
I hope this deep dive into Fate Therapeutics has been,
Informative.
yeah, and thought-provoking.
Definitely.
They're a company that really showcases, both the potential
The potential,
and the challenges
the challenges, for sure.
of this whole new world of biotech.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating story.
And it's still unfolding.
It is. We'll be watching closely.
To see what happens next.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back soon with another look at a company.
or a technology.
That's pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Always pushing forward.
Until then, stay curious.